successors, X-Men Origins Wolverine, the Wolverine. Director James Mangold comes back with Logan! Alright, Logan is a much more grittier and darker successor and a much more successful, and I gotta say it's a rated R version. It's more of an, how would you say, it's more of an adult, it's less for a teen audience type of movie. And I just got to see this movie just a couple days ago, and I'm happy to say this movie is probably the darkest, more grim. It tells a grim future. It's straight from the comic book series known as Old Man Logan. Hugh Jackman comes back in his final portrayal as the beloved X-Man. He's probably the most beloved character in the entire Marvel Universe, who's had at least 20 years of playing the adamantium clawed mercenary known as Logan, or A.K. Wolverine, A.K. James Hewlett or Howlett. And this movie finds Logan in a hopeless situation. If the year is 2029, and the world has changed a lot since the last time we saw X-Men. If you guys pinpoint X-Men Days of Future Past, this kind of starts right after X-Men Days of Future Past in a distant future. Okay, X-Men Days of Future Past kind of fixed all the timelines, all the X-Men movies actually, from X-Men to X-Men The Last Stand and X-Men Origins Wolverine, the Wolverine, and so forth. So it kind of starts off like that, and he's with Professor Charles Xavier, who has Alzheimer's, who he's extremely sick right now, and he's kind of, he's really messed up, and he's a danger to himself and other mutants, as I'll tell you guys a little bit later about that if you guys haven't seen the movie, as well as the only remaining mutant that they show on this movie besides Logan and Professor Xavier, Caliban, played by Stephen Merchant. He's actually 6'7", and you can't tell from the movie, I guess. They don't do enough close-ups to him and the other characters, but I guess I need to see it again. I'm definitely going to go see it again. You got to go see Logan. So he's kind of by the Mexican border, okay? And he's kind of working as a driver, a limo driver. He has to keep Professor Charles Xavier sedated most of the time. He gives him drugs. He drugs him. Basically, Logan is about as dark and grim as you can get in any of the X-Men movies. This movie is extremely sad and very violent in its delivery. So Logan has to. He's trying to run away from his past. Pretty much everybody he's ever loved is gone. Everybody. I mean everybody. All the X-Men and anybody that's ever tried to come into his life, he's lost. That's basically what he says in most of the movies. Anybody I try to get close to usually gets killed. That's a very well-known fact that anybody who tries to get close to the adamantium clawed mutant will usually die. And that's what this movie tries to kind of, because basically Hugh Jackman, he's just kind of fed up. He really doesn't care anymore. He's actually also, and he's very ill in this movie. His adamantium skeleton is poisoning his whole body because he's been coated with this adamantium. Because you guys remember on the Wolverine, he lost his claws, and he got them back eventually in Days of Future Past, because there's a lot of incontinuity in these films, but they kind of fixed it on X-Men Days of Future Past, and it brought everything in a really good standing, and this film just kind of builds. It's its own film because this is not your usual superhero movie. So, and he's actually dying. This movie's just really sad. Okay, he's got to be over 200 years old on this film. So, he finds himself with this Mexican lady who decides to give him a address that says, that's known as Eden, that's located in North Dakota, and so and there's traces of comic books. There's an X-Men comic on this movie, actually 3 of them, but the only one they really show on screen is the one that has X-Men, Colossus, and Cyclops, and you see Sauron on this. These are all well-known characters in the Marvel Universe and the X-Men comics. So Logan, he really doesn't believe. she has a daughter, a little girl by the name of Laura or Laura pronounced in this movie, and she, she's a very quiet little girl, and she's kind of a mystery to Logan because her adopted mother ends up getting murdered by Donald Pierce and the Reavers of this movie. These are mercenaries. These are well-known characters in the Marvel Universe. I just want to bring up a little bit of Boyd Holbrook, who plays Donald Pierce. He's really good. Actually, he's actually really good, and he kind of got into shape a little bit to do this movie, and he's gonna kill all you little muties. Y'all gonna be dead. So he's kind of like he's just a mercenary. He's as cold as and cold blooded as he can get, And everybody really delivers on this movie. And he has the Reavers. These are cyborgs from the Marvel Universe who are well known to run with Lady Deathstrike, otherwise known as Yuriko. And Yuriko was actually on X-Men 2, X-Men United. And I want to kind of clue you guys in a timeline as I do this review. So he's on the trail of this little girl named Laura, who's actually X-23, who's an X-Man who will eventually become this. And so she doesn't speak at all in the beginning, and then later on she starts talking about these little kids, her friends who are actually from this facility that was harnessing young mutants' powers, and now Logan has to bring her back to that place known as Eden. It's, like I said, it's kind of like a safe haven for mutants, where they're not persecuted or anything. And then of course we get to see a lot of violence on this movie. There's a lot of shots on this movie there just did not see on any of the X-Men because of the PG-13 and the PG, and this movie just really let it all hang out. Really let go a lot because you see a lot of violence. You see a lot of decapitations on this. You see a lot of people getting impaled. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty awesome. Okay, and I want to share the very beginning of the film is actually not. It doesn't start with Logan. It actually starts with Deadpool. At the beginning, you kind of see Deadpool walking off, and you see this old man getting assaulted by this mugger, and then Deadpool goes inside a phone booth, and you hear the old Superman Christopher Reeve music go on, and he's getting dressed inside the phone booth, and you kind of catch a little glimpse of his behind. It's really hilarious, and the guy gets killed, and at the end, of course, Deadpool is too late to save him, and he goes to he lays on the old guy who just got shot, and he goes, oh, if Logan were here, this probably wouldn't have happened. So that the movie kind of starts off in an it's kind of like an end credit scene, but it's actually a beginning scene. But right before the Logan movie starts, so I just want to bring that up in case you guys don't know. It's probably all over YouTube already, but and it kind of you see on the phone booth it says coming soon, Nathan Summers, and that's actually Cable, who is going to be a part of Deadpool 2 as well as the upcoming X-Force movie that will be in theaters in the near future, of course. And okay, so all right, and then now to the spoilers of this movie. Okay, this movie is very melancholy, and it also has moments of beauty. Actually, this movie, you're not going to believe this. Okay, this movie has radar. I mean, a lot of people get slaughtered on this. There's a family that gets murdered on this family. I actually thought that I wasn't going to see that because there's a part where Logan gets to kind of see what it's like to have a family, to have a wife, to have children, and Professor X kind of shares with him what it's like, soak it in, kind of. And so, also, I want to bring up also here are the spoilers. Okay, there is 24. It's known as 24. It's actually a younger clone of Wolverine, of Logan. And he comes inside the room and he kills Professor Xavier. He stabs him right through the heart, and then we get to see, and he also murders the family as well. It's like I said, this movie has no time for apologies here. It's very dark and grim film, and director James Mangold gets an A plus actually on this movie because he really delivered something that we'll probably never forget. And also there's a part of the movie where it kind of clues you in Westchester, New York, where the X-Men mansion was located at the old school where Charles Xavier and Logan were training the X-Men, of course, and so that means it shows that Professor Xavier, Charles Xavier, has a disease. It's located within his brain, of course, and he's a psychic mutant. So it's revealed that he murdered all the X Men. So it's mentioned on a part of the where Logan is listening to the radio. It talks about because in one part of this film you see the Logan and Laura, of course, and the Reavers, as well as Donald Pierce, and as well as a lot of innocent bystanders in the film that get the some kind of psychic. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a psychic blast that causes everybody to fall, and they're in a whole lot of pain. Okay, a lot. And that's what so it kind of clues you. That's what killed all the X-Men. So basically, Charles Xavier has killed all the X-Men. And another thing about this film that you're not used to seeing is Charles Xavier cussing. He's cursing on this film. And of course, we already knew that Wolverine was like that, but holy, it's actually really hilarious to see Patrick Stewart doing that stuff. Okay, because we just don't imagine him doing that. And as far as the little girl's concerned, Laura, the one who plays X-23, she's an adorable little girl, and she's one of the standouts. And I definitely think she should win for Best Supporting Actress on this film, and Best Director James Mangold for this film, and as well as Hugh Jackman for Best Actor. I definitely give this movie a Grammy, an Oscar, because it is that damn good. Because I guarantee you will not be disappointed. If you have not seen Logan, go see it, because I'm gonna go see it again, and I highly recommend this movie. If I left anything out, okay, I did kind of leave up something. Okay, the little kids in the movie, one of them is described. Is called Richter. Okay, if you're not familiar with comic books, okay, the X-Men comics, I kind of think that this is just, it's not actually an actual spoiler, and I'm just kind of making my own agenda on this. Okay, this movie is setting up a future X-Force movie, which is in the works as I'm doing this video actually. And we already know that Deadpool 2 is going to feature Cable, who happens to be the leader of X-Force, and we're probably going to see Domino as well as another mutant that's well known in the X-Force comics that's going to be featured on the movie as well as Cable. So what I'm thinking is they're setting up at the X-Force film, and that's why you see all these little mutants on this, because all the X-Men have died already. Okay, and actually, X-Force started from the comic New Mutants. I suggest if you really want to know what's going on in this movie, go and buy the comics if you can find them, because they're really old already, old as I am. All right, so okay, yeah, I think I covered pretty much everything, and Logan is probably one of the best movies of the year. This is definitely going to be on my year-end list of best movies of 2017. It's like I said, this movie is a look into a dystopian future that Logan this movie is as stripped down as it gets. Believe me, it's not your usual comic book movie. You're not going to see spandex, and I would have at least liked to have seen Hugh Jackman Logan in the Wolverine costume for the comics, the yellow and black spandex thing. I think that would have been an even better send off than this. But I think Hugh Jackman, he's basically and he dies on this film when 24 stabs him right through a broken tree in the woods, and he finally dies. And at the end of but right there by his daughter Laura, he kind of says, "So this is what it's like to die." He's basically saying this is what it's like to die. So, and we finally see a final look at the grave that has like a cross on it, and then Laura, of course, turns it over. It's like an X, because Logan is not Logan is not a religious. He's not Christian, and he's just a very dark, misunderstood, and troubled soul. And I kind of think that that Hugh Jackman where I'm gonna miss this guy doing this iconic role because I mean, anytime you think of Wolverine and the X-Men movies, Wolverine in general, you're gonna think of Hugh Jackman. You know, it's just gonna forever be like that. I don't care who plays Logan, aka Wolverine, in the next couple movies. We are gonna see probably see Wolverine and a couple more films, of course, in the near future. I'm betting, but the only thing I know that kind of clues us in that Hugh Jackman might return to do the Wolverine is if the X Men get included in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is because Fox owns the X Men, but the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, and all those other characters are owned by another film company, and they have like a conflicting lack of interest in each other. So, and if that were to, that's what he said. He actually said it on camera. Look it up on YouTube. He said if Wolverine is X Men are included in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he would come back and do it. But this is, like I said, this is a great ending to such a troubled franchise because I know I liked X Men Origins Wolverine. Nobody liked that movie. I don't know who liked that movie actually. The Wolverine was all right. And this is definitely the best of the trilogy. And I got to see all three of them. I got to see all three of them. And like I said, this is definitely the best of the X-Men movies that you're ever gonna see, probably because X-Men: Days of Future Past was awesome. I love that movie. But as a standalone film, there's not a greater film because I know Deadpool was awesome too. But this movie has moments of humor as well. But the Logan is, I give this movie a 10 out of 10. I give this movie an Academy Award, an Oscar for Best Movie of the Year. And okay, if you like this video, if you want to support this blog, comment and share this video. Like this video and check out my other videos that before this, and you'll see it right below. On hit that bell and subscribe to the FilmView Network. Okay, and I'll be back. And once again, like I said, Logan is a winner, and I love this movie. There's like there's tender moments on this movie because it's kind of a developing relationship between Laura and Logan in this film, and at the same time, there's a lot of peril in the film. So, I think I like to big clap to Hugh Jackman for this film because it is awesome. Actually, I didn't think I was gonna like it. I saw the trailer and I thought, this movie's gonna be boring. Had me hooked, glued to the screen from the very beginning. All right, you guys, I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.